I've had a few requests for some strategy guide and information. It's actually a very complicated subject. The game could be broken down into 3 categories, and each one you want a different strategy. I'll try to give some more general information here. If you want more information on a specific area, let me know and I'll see if I can make a movie about it. Okay, first you have to understand style of play. A strategy that works for one player is not necessarily going to work for another. Myself, I play with 3 other people on a regular basis, my wife and 2 friends. We've gotten up to 5 players together on one team. It makes for a really fun game. But each of us just have a different style of play. I am more of a swarm player. I love swarms of infantry, mechanized artillery, mechanized anti-tank units, and heavy armor. Depending on the faction, sometimes I'll mix that up with lighter or medium armor. I really never mess with light armor. I don't find it to be useful. I know another player that uses light armor extensively, and he's been very impressed with it. I have one friend that is notorious for his mechanized columns that I could never run and fathom keeping them going. My personal style have been called a virus at times. I tend to, regardless of my faction I'm playing, I will start off with a infantry barracks, a engineering building, and then I'll develop a tech. Either something that will boost my financial income or make my infantry tougher. I will build 2 infantry, put them in column formation, have them run off, and just seize as many cities as they can. I have actually seized all cities in the game without even meeting the computer, just to seize objectives. And it gives you a little bit more money boost at the beginning. You can see where their base is or what direction they're coming from when they try to take some of the cities back. And you just move very quickly. In column, they tend to ignore enemies, so if you get attacked, you have to move them out and just keep them going. Unit breakdown would go, it's almost rock, paper, scissors. Infantry in swarm will tear up armor. Armor's a little bit better at facing other vehicles. By armor, I mean tanks, whether it be heavy, medium, light. Armor will overcome artillery units. Artillery units will overcome infantry. Infantry overcome armor. So you want to balance in your force. You don't want to have it built up only one way, especially facing the computer, because the computer will see what you have and automatically build whatever it needs to compensate. The quick breakdown of the factions. Russia, the best infantry in the game in my opinion, and we've done this extensive testing where we'll have like one unit on one unit, just have them move up on each other to see how neither one's dug in, what with and without buffs, how it works. The Russian sniper are pretty much the best. If they're not being shelled on a one-on-one basis, if they're entrenched with all the buffs, they will hold pretty much guaranteed against anything. Germany tends to start off with the best infantry, but they get a special unit called the King Tiger later on for heavy armor. Absolute monsters when you get them in mass, and especially if you start getting experience. There was one game I had 4 King Tiger units with Master Sergeant rank. Nothing stopped them. The British tend to be a little more general use. They have a special unit called Heavy Infantry. You can, if you start off with enough resources, you can just start building those right away. They tend to be really good. But again, they're a little more general use. I really haven't noticed one area that are stronger or better than another area in. The Japanese have Banzai infantry. They, en masse, I have terrorized armored units, shattered enemy lines. I tend to be able to put a formation of 4 to 6 of them. 6 is better, just the more the better. And just kept rolling through enemy lines. They worked very well. U.S. make more money and are a little cheaper on some other things. They're a better money maker unit, and that way they're a little broken. They have a specialized unit called Assault Infantry. Again, very strong, very good. The game could be broken down into 3 areas. If you're playing the computer, if you're solo, as I mentioned before, I tend to be a virus, just blitzing out with 2 infantry, seizing up all the resources. I get to see where they are coming, because the computer tends to be a little slower in blitzing out. It does vary from commander to commander and faction to faction. I've noticed a different style with the computer in each one of those, so you can't always bank on that, but they tend to be a little slower on that, working on establishing their economy. playing in team games against the computer, which is what I really enjoy doing. What we'll do is, if we're random, we'll decide early in the game or beforehand if we're going to pick who's going to be what. We'll each pick an area of the battlefield, and that's what our job will be. One will be going for air supremacy, and you're going to get bombers, airfields. Another player will decide he's going to go for the armor, and another player will set up a little bit better for base defense to hold up everyone else. Another player will be able to focus then a little bit more on attack. Comes with some skill, and depending on what the game is. In the campaign mode, I could do a whole movie just on the Axis, another one just on the Allies. The Allies tend to do this more, but a lot of the Axis as well have certain acts you have to do. You have to take out a certain thing, you have to take a certain objective, do certain things in order to make the campaign possible. Otherwise the mission just isn't doable. I think Iwo Jima was the worst, but that's personal preference on the Allies side. I think that was harder than Okinawa, but that's strictly off subject. Playing other players, either online or local network, I'm not the best at this, although I have won a few games both in team and one-on-one. My strong point, I really enjoy more the board games and miniatures, things like that, over. What I have noticed is it tends to be dominated by mechanized anti-tank units. I tried to contact some of them to get some more feedback on how exactly it's done and what to do, and I never heard back from any of them. So I don't know if there was a problem with the email, if something with my filter was set that they couldn't email me and I didn't realize it, but none contacted me. In online play, my theory is what a lot of players do is they start off by building one infantry barracks, the motor pool, then a mechanized barracks, and then they may have multiple mechanized barracks to crank out a lot of mechanized units. Mechanized anti-tank units, to be specific. Also, if you start the game with more starting resources, it's easier. If you start the game with less starting resources, I'm referring to the money to start with, it makes it a little harder because the computer has more time to build up its own economy. So when you start with more money, it's a little bit different style, and you have to know how to play that. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems. In a team game, whether it be against the computer or other players or whatever, we try to set up a objective of one person will take on one role in the battle. It's a little harder to do if you're playing online with other people that aren't in the same room for you to just tell them what and how to do. For a team game, better knacks and strategies, about the best info I could give you would be a couple things that we've done is have a rolling attack. One person will attack sometimes we'll combine our force and do a massive attack, but most often one person will be attacking. His army will get beat up, need to withdraw. Another person will come up, cover his withdrawal so he's able to disengage, get back to resupply, and the other person just push the attack on. We've done this as up to 3 armies rolling in an attack. Another time, especially against the computer, if you do a hard attack on one side, a minute or two later, let the computer draw all the forces from the other side of the base to there to stop it. The other person will then push in and get a clear shot, destroy a bunch of barracks and things before there's even resistance. Another trick you can do is if multiple players have tactical weapons, those are what we call them, V weapons, the nuclear attack, the carpet bombing, kamikaze, all those are tactical weapons. You just pick a target, hit a bomb, inflict damage. What we'll do is we'll have 2, sometimes 3 of these grouped together, and we have taken out the HQ, the enemy's HQ, in one hit with 2 of these. It's fairly rare. I don't know if it's a random feature with distributing the damage, or if it varies faction to faction how much damage is done with carpet bombing. As I said, we've taken sometimes we've taken them out outright, sometimes not. Most often, one person will hit, then another person will come in with a second hit, and then a third person will do cleanup if anything survives or if we see something else. That's about all the information I can really give you, if that's any help at all.